are I? Focus. It is 111 right now, which crazy. And I do have such a busy week ahead of me. So Bud, my cat who got fixed because she turned out to already be fixed in last week's vlog, I went out to lunch on Friday and I came home and I was going to let her out of the kennel. It is a dog kennel that she's been staying in, to let her out so she could walk around, you know, just get out of the kennel. And she kept falling over. She was stumbling around like she was drunk. And I was like, I couldn't even watch. Like, I had to turn my back, but obviously I eventually did, because it's my cat, I had to take care of her. So I just was petting her and all that after, and her eye was all messed up, which they said after surgery that her eye was messed up because just the drugs, so it was just kind of, you know, wonky, that it was going the other way. But it was very like red and did not look right, like 24 hours after the surgery. So I was like, first instinct was to take her to the vet, and I think you should always go with your gut instinct. So I took her to the vet, and she's been there ever since. It's currently Monday, and that was on Friday. So they think that the eye, that she scratched it after surgery sometime, so it could, when she was home and we were sleeping, something like that. So the eye is just infected. It's nothing neurological, which I was so scared of, that it was something with her brain. And then the second one is there is bacteria in her ears. Now, I guess the surgery might have just been a shock to her system and triggered all this, but there is bacteria in her ears, and that affects your balance, which, like, totally can understand that, because when I clean my ears, I always have to sit for a minute before standing up, or else I would be stumbling like Bud was. So hopefully I can pick her up today. They've been calling me all through the weekend every day with updates, so that's great. And I know she's in good hands, and they said that she has been getting better. She's still kind of wobbly, but she's eating, she's drinking, and all of that, and taking her medicine. So that's on Monday. And then tomorrow I have a dental cleaning, and you'll know I'm always right, because I'm always like, I don't think I'm doing good enough with my dental stuff, and especially in the spring. I was just so mentally worn out that I'm scared that I maybe didn't do as good brushing my teeth and all that. Like, I did brush my teeth every day, but it's like, did I not do good enough? You know, I'm always scared of that. But last time I was very scared, and they were so proud of how my teeth looked. So fingers crossed again, knock on wood, that everything turns out to be fine. Then Wednesday, Delilah is doing a test for doggy daycare. So I had to drop her off at 9:30, wait there for 15 minutes. And if she does good in those 15 minutes with the other dogs, she can stay the rest of the day and I can leave. So it's just see how she behaves, so please behave. Which I told y'all before, she's never been aggressive towards anyone, any animal. And when other dogs have been aggressive towards her, she just turns her head and backs up. She's like, I'm not messing with that. So I don't think it will go poorly, but I mean, you never know. And then on Thursday, Penny has just her yearly, once you have a senior dog, you're pretty much going every year just for a checkup to make sure everything's good, get blood work and all that. And then she has to get an update on like her rabies vaccine and all of that. So it's gonna be a very busy week. But I'm probably not gonna go with Penny because she usually is top dog. Like, she's not scared at all. When like Fred or Delilah or Bud, when they go, they are very nervous. Bud usually settles down, but I mean, she has only been to the vet like twice in her life, so like when I've had her, she doesn't really understand that is something to be scared of. But like Delilah and Fred are nervous wrecks, and they have to have me there. But let's go into my weekly TBR. So my poetry collection is Weary Waiting for Love by R.M. Drake and R.H. Sin. I loved R.M. Drake's. R.H. Sin I don't like. Yeah. And then we have the book that I am starting today in about an hour, and that is the Yonahlosse Writing Camp for Girls by Antoine Desclamphy. This was, again, we are reading books on my zodiac sign, which is Leo, so this is the Leo book we're going to be reading this week. So Thea Atwell is 15 years old in 1930. When following a tragedy for which her family holds her responsible, she sent away to Yonahlosse, a boarding school for wealthy Southern debutantes in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. With its complex social strata ordered by money, beauty, equestrian prowess, and girls' school rituals, it cannot be more difficult for Thea's free-roaming dreamlike childhood. As Thea grapples with the truth about her role and the events of the past year, she finds herself enmeshed in the world of Yonahlosse, her eyes opened to the realities of a larger world that will change her sense of what is possible for herself, her family, her country. Part scandalous love story, part heartbreaking family drama, the Yonahlosse Writing Camp for Girls is an immersive, transporting page-turner, a vivid, propulsive novel about sex, love, family, money, class, home, and horses, all set against the ominous threat of the Depression and the major debut of an important new writer. I got this at a used bookstore in Shelby, North Carolina, last year. So it had been sitting on the shelf there for 2 years. I think that's interesting how used bookstores will put how long it's been there. And then yesterday I started a new mood read, and it's Diana, Her True Story by Andrew Morden. So this is an autobiography on Princess Diana. There is an episode of The Crown that goes all into the writing of this book, and my grandma gave this to me like a month after I read it. This is her original copy from 1992. I'm about 15% in that. And yeah, so 1992, so to let y'all know, Diana was alive when that book published. And then we have my ebook, and that is Diana Gabaldon's An Echo in the Ashes. This is set during the American Revolution with some time travel elements involved. But, okay, so like Donald Trump just announced who his vice president is going to be, and it was some guy who I was like, I've never heard of this dude, so that's random. And then my friend's like, you have one of his books, and I'm like, what? So it's the guy who wrote Hillbilly Elegy. So now I'm like freaking out because I've shown it all on my social media, and I'm like, I didn't know who that guy was. No idea. I didn't know he was a senator. Nothing. I just knew it was some guy who grew up in Appalachia, and so I am in a panic because I'm like, I shoot it all on my social media. So people, I had seen that book on BookTube before. I knew there was a movie with Amy Adams. So I was like, it's all gonna be like about like the similar things as Demon Copperhead, but real life. But this is a guy who is like very far right and extreme, and I'm like, I do not know this. I would not have gotten it. Luckily I got it for free, so I didn't have to give this guy any money, but like I wouldn't have done all that if I had known that this guy was a politician, because I don't really want to read political books like that are from politicians. I'd rather it be from an outsider perspective. But hopefully this book is just talking about his family's life in Appalachia and all that, rather than being like, this is why you should vote for me, this is why you should vote for Donald Trump, because no, that's not what I came here for. But I have read one other politician book before, Boris Johnson's book, because one, it was before, I bought it before he was prime minister, but I got it, it was like a history of London through, like for the 1960s, it was all about Keith Richards, so it was about like Boudica for the pre-Roman times. So it was just like about a different person for each era, which is so creative and unique. And he obviously didn't go into political spills in the book. So hopefully this J.D. Vance guy doesn't go into political spills, because that's not what I read for. Like, I don't really care about that. Like, I don't care about that in my reading. I am pretty set in my ways, and I'm not gonna change my political, which is bad. I think I am a pretty open-minded person. It's just, yeah, so I don't care about party, whatever, but I don't really want to get into politics, because again, that's not what I'm here for. So I am really sorry for putting this book all on my channel, because I did not know this was a MAGA guy who was going to be Trump's vice president. I didn't know that. Hey guys, it is currently 7:49, so I just got done reading in the Writing Camp for Girls. That's not the whole name, but I do want to just do an update on my day. So I cannot take Bed home today. He, or she, sorry, has to stay like tonight, and then tomorrow hopefully she'll be ready to come home. And then I was very hangry today, because days that I film, I mainly just snack, because I don't want to mess up my makeup and all of that. And then once 4 o'clock comes around, I go out and get lunch. So my dad comes home and is like, I gotta do yard work, so you have to wait on food. And yeah, so I had to wait. So I was kind of hangry. Chick-fil-A, they always, their line, they're awful at getting the line around, like it gets really long, especially this time of year because it's right off I-95, and I-20, so you have all the tourism beach traffic coming off of there. So we wait in the line forever. We get to the voice box and they're like, we're having a power outage. You can't get this. Like they list everything you can't get. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not getting any of that. Like why? Like I don't get the point in listing off the whole list, but I can understand it because then what if somebody's like, do you have this? And they're like, no, what about this? No. But I was able to get a chicken sandwich. And then when I get to the window to pay, it's like, we're having a power outage. We'll have your food out to you in a minute, but we like they can accept payment, and we were paying cash anyway, so they could accept cash, but they cannot get the cash register. And we're like, we don't need change, like it's fine, like a few coins, that doesn't matter. So it was all just very chaotic. My power had flickered earlier in the day. We just had not even a bad storm at all, not bad at all. So I don't know what caused all this. So I come home and around 6 o'clock, the power goes out completely, not just flickered, out, and it was out until like 7:09. And so there was all that. But I'm good now. I'm good. But I was so scared that I wouldn't be able to have dinner because I was like, everything I have to cook. But microwave is down, the stove won't work, the oven won't work. And yeah, so I was very scared, but luckily it came back on in time for me to make dinner. But let's talk about the Yonahlosse writing camp for girls. Characters, I like our main character. I wouldn't say I love her or anything. She's not a new favorite, but yeah, she's enjoyable to read from. But the side characters, especially like her roommates, her cabin mates, they're all interchangeable to me. They're not that well developed. And the atmosphere, yeah, the atmosphere is really good. We are in Blowing Rock, which I've never been there. I know that's like where people go skiing. Now, this is a summer book, but I know when I was in school, some people would go skiing up there. I've never been skiing. I've never been there. And then our other parts are in Florida, because that is where our main character, Thea, is originally from. She's from Florida, but is going to this camp in North Carolina. But for a time period, so this takes place in 1930, but it really doesn't feel like it. It feels like this could be happening today, that all these girls are at a camp. So the time period's not really distinct. Like there may be just little like newspapers that say, what, Herbert Hoover, is that his name, the president? Little things like that, but you know, it's not that crazy. And the writing is very easy and accessible to read. I do think it's a bit flat, but it's not bad, but it's very easy, very digestible to read. And then the plot so far is fine. It's like, yeah, it's a fine plot. Like, I have no issue with it whatsoever. So let's go into my tabs here. So I have a majority writing tabs. Atmosphere falls under writing for me as well, if you weren't sure. So this is just when I was saying dry, flat writing, but not bad. And then I have a green one, or an orange one, sorry. I'm really scared because we're at a boarding school full of girls. It's just gonna be putting girls against each other. I don't really like reading that. No, yes, at 15 years old, that does happen, but because she was at first like, I hated these girls, and then she's talking about back home, I thought she was boring. So I'm like, is she gonna hate every girl she meets? Like, I sure hope not, because that is, you have issues, one, if that is your case, because there's always going to be somebody you're not going to like, but you're not going to hate every single girl you meet. And the time, so this again goes to the writing, the way the time flows is really weird and like really takes you out of the story, because there's no, it would be better if there were like breaks, you know, like, let me see if I can find like that, where you can see there's a break on the page. If we were doing that between flashbacks and the current time, and then there was even a part where I did it later, it said after World War II, so that's obviously 15 years into the future. It just really takes you out of the story, because then I'm like, we go to a flashback, then get tossed back into 1930, and I'm like, wait a minute, what were we doing in 1930 before that flashback? I get confused, and it just is kind of choppy, I would say, and just takes you out of the story, disorienting. And then my theory for this plot of why she got sent here, I think something happened with her cousin Georgie, and that her brother, her twin brother Sam, took the blame for it. Now I have no idea if this is true or not, so that's why I'm not saying it's a spoiler, because I don't know if it's true, but that's just my theory. And then there was one chapter that was really just talking about her childhood in Florida and what a lot of people consider like old Florida. I'm not talking money wise, because my ancestry would be old Florida as well, because if you descend from Spanish who settled Florida, which is my first ancestry in the, other than Native American ancestry, my first European ancestry or African ancestry in America was Spanish settlers in St. Augustine. But old Florida being before it got so commercialized, when there was just a lot of cows and horses, orange groves, you know, Christian Cole would love it. So there was like this little piece of heaven carved from the Florida wilderness. I love the setting in this little section here. And then the green was the World War II part that it takes you out of the story. And then just this quote, the South was still a land unto itself. In some ways, it was a land that time had forgotten. And I think that is still so true today in 2024, that a lot of people see the South being very behind, not being politically speaking. Our infrastructure is awful. We can talk about the power and I have brown water for a long time. My water pressure is so bad, y'all, every morning, and it's all over the county or the city. Every morning, my water pressure is awful. So there's a lot of things where you can see it. This is talking about people being like, the North didn't really win the Civil War, like stuff like that, which I mean, people still say that however many years later it is now. So yes, I am liking this. It's like a 3-star, or maybe even higher than a 3-star, but lower than a 4-star, so somewhere in the 3-star category. But I'm going to go eat my dinner now. Last reading update for the day. Let's see how that is to the lighting. It's like I'm telling a scary story. But I got to 26% in Diana, her true story. What just happened is her engagement to Charles, who was then the Prince of Wales, who is our current king. Not our current king. I'm not a British subject, but the King of England. So what are my thoughts on this? This is a nonfiction, and it's really interesting. It started off with the acknowledgments and author's note, which I didn't really read that much, and I kind of skimmed it because sometimes those things have spoilers, even though this is nonfiction. But you know, I think it's really interesting to see what the perception of her was when she was alive, as she was alive when this book was published, and she had already passed by the time I was born. So it's really interesting to see what the public thought of her. And it wasn't always good, because now she's remembered so greatly, but there were actually moments where they didn't like her too much. And this is really interesting. I would say it's a high 3-star. Seeing just, it really humanizes her. Yes, she is coming from a big nobility background and all of that, but she has the same personality type that I do in INFP, and definitely, you can definitely tell like the love of animals and just your inner child and all that kind of stuff. And I do think it is really bringing her to life as a person rather than the figure Princess of Wales. I know she is known as the people's princess, but we're seeing her as an individual, and I'm really liking that part. But I will be honest with y'all, a lot of this is going right over my head, just all these terms like nobility and royal terms. Yes, I've seen The Crown. Yes, I am fascinated by, like, I follow the royal family now, and I am fascinated by their history, but a lot of this is just, for an American audience, it's gonna go in one ear out the other, or, you know, I'm seeing it, reading it, and I'm like, I don't know what all this means. So that's my only real issue there. Yeah, I feel like I'll have more to say later. The writing can be kind of confusing at times, just the wording. I'm not talking about like the nobility parts, but just the way a sentence will be worded, because it was like, they're at this place, this house that is owned by a friend of Prince Philip, and his wife Philippa. And I'm like, Prince Philip is not married to Philippa, but they mean okay. So I'm going to read the sentence for y'all. The meeting, which was to set Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer irrevocably, I can never say that word, on the road to St. Paul's Cathedral, took place in July 1980 on a hay bow at the home of Commander Robert de Pass, a friend of Prince Philip, and his wife Philippa, a lady in waiting to the Queen. I just think that's worded weird. I don't like how that's worded, and there's several instances of things like that. So I think the wording can be just a bit awkward and clunky. And that's all. Those are all my thoughts on Diana, her true story. As I said, I got to 26%, and I also got to 26% in the other book I'm reading. But after my bath and all of that, I will be getting into... Hey guys, I did go to the dentist today and had a great time. I love talking to the people there. But yeah, all my teeth are good, so that is great. I do have fluoride on my teeth right now, and some might be on my lips. So if there's like white stuff, that's what that is. But I am about to go get some lunch. I'm gonna get some Italian, some ravioli. Hopefully there won't be like a whole clove of garlic in there, because that's what happened last time. There's a whole thing like that big in my sauce when I got spaghetti, and it grossed me out and made me not want to eat the rest of my food. Because one time I found plastic in my food there. Like it was, I think it just came off the container, but it still grossed me out. Yeah. Then why do I keep going back? Who knows? Because I love Italian food. It's my favorite, and there would be like nowhere else to go because they're all owned by the same people. But it stormed. Like I woke up to a storm, and it literally threw this chair across the deck. I've never seen that happen. Like it just was a pop-up storm. I didn't know it was supposed to storm today. Actually here today, the heat index across the whole like northeastern South Carolina is all over 110. In some spots it's 115. Crazy. And so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pick up Bud today. I haven't been told if I will be able to or not. So hopefully Bud will be coming home, but if she isn't, then I mean, that's just, you know, she has to, I'm looking at my phone. So she's been there since Friday. So 4 days so far, 4 nights, or it'll be 3 nights. Tonight would be 4 nights. So hopefully she's fine and can come home today. But if she can't, it is what it is. I want to show y'all this chair though, and then I might insert the clip of it flying. Also, I just noticed the door is even a little bit open from the storm, and it was locked. So the chair went flying. It's supposed to be over there, and it's right here. So Bud update and then reading update. So Bud, they gave me the option to bring her home today, but the vet said that she would like to keep Bud a few more days. So Bud is staying there because we want her to get better, and obviously I think that'd be best in the hands of the medical people. And it's really nice that this is all getting to be here, because when my dog Max was having his heart problems, we would have to drive him all the way to Columbia because that's where the dog cardiologist, the closest one, was, and that is like an hour drive. And especially going on, is that 77? No, 26 I think. That interstate in Columbia, so congested, especially when I was there 2 weeks ago. I was going somewhere else, but I had to drive through there, and oh my gosh, it's so bad. I don't know why it is. I think they need to widen it, but the construction is crazy. But so as I was saying, it's super nice that I can just stay in my town. Like Bud is literally like a few miles that way, and I'm not having to drive an hour like once a week. You know, so I'm good. It's good that she can get her treatment here. And this is nothing like deadly, like a heart thing or anything like that. It's just bacteria in her ears and getting rid of that bacteria. And the vet said she's loving on everybody, and butt bumps. Like when they love, you know, when cats rub their whole bodies against you. I didn't know that had a term, but now I do. So there is the Bud update. And then tomorrow is when I take Delilah to her doggy daycare test. I am so nervous for her because y'all know I tried to get her into one daycare before, but since she is majority pit bull, they would not accept her. And this one does accept pit bull. They accept any kind of dog that you have, like even the owners or workers. Some of them have pit bulls, so we're all good on the breed front. But I'm so scared that she just as I said, she's never been aggressive to anybody, but I don't know, like I don't want her just to randomly snap and be aggressive, which again, she's never shown any signs of that. So I think that would be the only thing they like try to test in this test that she has tomorrow. It's literally only a 15-minute thing. But we're gonna hope that it goes well because that's very nerve-wracking. But now I got to the halfway point in the Yonahlosse writing camp for girls. Not a lot of tabs today, only like 3 more tabs. This is a very, yeah, it's a fine book. I think this would be a great beach read or if you're on vacation. I mean, preferably a mountain read. So if you're going on like, what is that place? Like Gatlinburg, you know, like Asheville for the summer, pick this up. I think it would be a great pick up. I really want to go to the mountains. I really want to go, but I also want to go to like a beach resort. That'd be super nice, but like okay, so let's go through these tabs first. The first one is oh, it's only 2 tabs. Yeah, only 2 tabs today. But this book had an annotation in it because I did buy it used, so I didn't want to read that to y'all. So they're talking about how she says crawfish, and Mr. Holmes, who is like the owner of the school, was like, we have a southerner among us because we say crayfish in the north. I guess that's how you say that. I've never heard that term. I personally say crawdads. That is the same kind of thing. They're like, I don't even know how to describe. I don't know if I've ever really seen one, a living one anyway. I've seen people eat them. But yeah, I say crawdads. But this whole discussion, she's like, I'm a Floridian. We're a different breed. Because someone was like, you're from the southernmost state. What else would you be if not a southerner? And she said that I'm a Floridian and we're a different breed. And that is true. The more north you get in Florida, the more south you are. And yeah, I still claim Florida as the south, but they're a little different down there. Texas is another one. They're a little different too. And I think our main character, no idea this is going to be the case, is mentally ill and delusional. I think that'd be really interesting. I'm just getting that vibe from just how her flashbacks of why she is at this camp. And if it was a traumatic experience, that obviously can induce mental illness and delusions and all that. So it will be really interesting to see. And I thought I did have another tab. Did I not? Did it fall out? Okay, no. It just blended in with the page. Okay, so I do have 3 tabs for y'all. But yeah, the annotation that the previous owner had is also, I love that the spine is already broke. Like, that's so satisfying for me. But it was a series of events, Thea. Thank God they ended well, and leave it at that. A door closed in my brain, then unexpectedly my understanding of our world shifted. It was a series of events. I thought all of it. That is a good quote. Good on the person for annotating. And then, okay, my annotation comes first. I thought of my brother and cousin as I had last seen them, and I'm like, were they being gay? Like, I don't know. And then this is what the previous owner had. It was all a mistake. If it is a series of events, then let her be. She learned her lesson. And that is where I got to today. So yes, this one it's fine. It's really just given 3 stars. And that's all I have to say. Already cried. I'll probably cry some more. But she failed her test. And yeah. I know, like, I don't need to cry. Like, last night I prayed. I was like, I know it's going to go whatever way is meant to be, because that's how the universe works. What's meant to be will be. But it's still hard accepting failure. Because somebody once I set my mind to something, I'm gonna do it. And sorry, eyelash in my eye as well, not fun. So we take her there, and she was really scared to go into the building, but they were like, that's typical, like, because they think that it's a vet or something like that. But the girl got her in the leash and everything and got her back to the room where they do the test. So initially she passes that test. They're like, she's just taking it all in, sitting there looking around, that kind of thing. So and that was with a small group of dogs. So they're like, you can leave, pick her up, you know, at the end of the day, sometime past 2 o'clock. And we were like, okay, we'll pick her up at 4. So we leave, and she couldn't see us at all during that test or anything. Like, we were not there. We were in the building, but you know, we were in totally different rooms. Nose, okay. So then we leave, and literally not even off that road yet, which is a short road. So like 3 minutes later they call us, and they're like, yeah, once she got outside, she got really overwhelmed when dogs were coming to sniff her. She snapped at them, which y'all know I've been telling y'all she's never snapped at anybody before, so I was honestly stunned. So they're like, we understand if you can't come pick her up right now, but she's not accounted for daycare. So yep, just turned around, picked her up, but she can still do boarding there. So if I ever travel, because boarding's a whole different kind of thing than daycare, because there's one-on-one, even though they can see other dogs because it's a clear door. I think that's what my dad meant. I don't know, because I didn't go in to pick her up because I was like, I will cry and I don't want to cry in front of these people. I mean, they were so kind and sweet, but yeah, I was just very upset, and I didn't cry till I got home, and my dad was like, there's no need to cry, and I'm like, I'm crying. I'm crying. So she's about to go outside for her lunchtime outing. Yeah, so I mean, I'm really upset because I know ultimately this all falls on how I raised her or whatever, because I'm like, one, I think we should have done more to make Penny more friendly with her, because, you know, Penny, I don't want to say she hates her because Delilah's right here and I'd be rude, but Penny doesn't really like her. But Delilah's always like turned the other cheek when Penny's tried to attack her and things. So I think we just should have tried harder on that relationship. And then two, I really wanted, she is past gas, but I really wanted to have her trained when I first adopted her. But my dad was like, the only way to train a dog is they beat them. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. But so he thought if I took her to a dog trainer, the dog trainer would beat her into behaving, which is not true at all. And obviously I would, oh my God, it smells so bad. That I didn't, because one, it would cost like $1,000, and two, I would have to drive her somewhere and I can't drive. So she never got trained and all that. So it's very sad that you couldn't go, oh, your claws on my feet, that you couldn't go and make friends, but it is what it is. This is what the universe wanted, even if it's not what I wanted, but that's life. So I did get some book mail early this morning right here from Amazon, and it is Prime Day yesterday and today, and I've been buying stuff for that because, you know, some things are like, you know, just household things that I need, like some are like legit necessities, and some I might have treated myself to some books, you know. If I do it, they did not have a tab where I could pull into it. So is this how I do it? Or is that a tab? And I completely missed it. I know, this is only so funny, like watching people, okay, here it goes. No, I don't think that's the tab. There's no tab on this to open it. But it's funny watching people open freaking things on like TikTok because nobody can get into boxes. Okay, yeah, they put the sticker right on the tab, I'm seeing now. Oh, they make these things so freaking hard to get into. I see my book, I see it. Okay, let's put my foot on it. But yeah, I wish I had somebody to talk to about Delilah. My dad just left to go back to work and said he wasn't coming back for lunch, and I was just like, dang, I'm here all by myself like I was during the Trump stuff. Like on Saturday, when they attempted to assassinate him, I wanted to talk to somebody about it so bad, but I was home alone for hours. And I'm like, yeah, I talked to my friends, but it's different talking in person versus talking on the phone. And that was even over text, not over, you know, voice. But here's the book that I got. Okay, it's a relatively large font, which is nice. Did they print it just for me? Yeah, Delilah's wanting to come in, but she has to go to the bathroom first. This is Vanished Khans and Empty Steps, A History of Kazakhstan from Prehistory to Post-Independence by Robert White. And these post-Soviet countries, particularly Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, fascinate me. I watched like a travel video once. Noel Phillips, he does airplane like reviews. And I watched that and was like extremely fascinated by it. So there are a lot of book recommendations in the back for other books about like, oh, Azerbaijan, you know, all these places. This should be super fascinating. Thank you to this guy for putting all that back there. So there is my book mail today, some nonfiction. I did go to Target, which y'all would have seen at the start of the video. Got internet brushes because those are so helpful. I did not need a book. I did not have a book on my list, but I felt sad, so I wanted to fill something, so I bought a book. And I think, was this a book of the month option? I don't know. If it was, I could have got a cheaper book of the month. But I love this cover. This is The Great Divide by Christina Henriquez, and it's a Read with Jenna book, and her new little, it's not a real sticker, but I think it's cute, the colors. This is about the Panama Canal, so a powerful novel about the construction of the Panama Canal, casting light on the unsung people who lived, loved, and labored there, which, yeah, I know what the Panama Canal is. I know why it's there, but I don't really know much more. And I don't even know why that was the choice to put it in that country. But I guess because Panama is like really skinny. I don't know. But then I got 2 silk pillowcases, which is like $30. But I was like, maybe I need new pillowcases. I get, is it Calaton? I don't know how to say it. Is it kind of protein? That basically my scalp gets too much of it, and I get like cyst or plugs, and you do it like a cyst. So I was wondering if maybe it's because my pillowcases, I need new pillowcases. So I got some new silk ones, which are really nice for your hair. I have some silk pillowcases right now, but while they wash, get these. So that's what I got at Target today. I've just felt so emotional today. I hate it. I hate it. Like, I do not know how Mercury is non-retrograde. I can never say that. I don't know how it's not. Like, I literally, as I told, I think I said earlier, when the dentist is the highlight of my week, that's pretty bad. And I know I'm probably overreacting a lot, but I think it's really just a buildup of, I never got to cry about Bud's situation. So then just the failure this morning, I was like, yep, we're gonna let the waterworks happen. And thunderstorm right now. But I got to 77% in the Yonahlosse writing camp for girls. I bet I have pronounced that different in every clip. So let's go through all of the thoughts. We do have several annotations from the reader before me, but this one, I had paid attention. This was the first time I'd paid any attention to Miss Metcalf. She fell into the boring category that most teachers and girls here did. Plain but not ugly, nice but uninteresting. I felt a little like okay, so there was that one, which I was like, how I told you, I think this is going to be a lot of girl versus girl. And then I felt a little like he belonged to me now. Like, this is so weird. I think there's something mentally wrong with this character, but I don't think the book will go that route. So we have another one. Let me see if there were any that the previous reader did. No. So this is another character one, and I think it plays into what I was just telling y'all about. And I did not have a girl cousin to compete with. I did not have to be prettier or more graceful or brighter. And I'm like, all that changes when she gets to the school. It makes sense because there's so many girls, and that kind of thing is going to happen. But if it's the majority of the people there, I think you're the problem. And I mean, the writer may think that, and it's just not executed properly. And this is just something I never realized. So they're doing a Ouija board, and it's like, did the girls really believe this? Yeah, there's an elitism to her that she thinks she's better than every girl there, but okay. Did the girls really believe this? We had read an essay about the occult with Father, how it was simply a way not to believe all the soldiers from the Great War were dead. And I'm like, is that really why Ouija boards were created? To just connect with the soldiers who died in World War I? Was that really why? Like, I never knew that. That's super interesting. And then there was a love tab here. So many things were like that. You waited and waited and waited, and then it happened, and you were still you. I wasn't sure if this was a disappointment or a relief. It seemed like a little bit of both, and I thought that is just a very true thing. So here's a tab from the previous reader. You don't think when you're young that you will simply fall into your life, and I mean, true. Okay, and then we have one from me, another quote that I liked. But you never really leave your home, can you? But you can, yeah. And that's true, that your home is what makes you. It's where you grew and all of that. Then we have some quotes from the previous reader. What is the worst thing then? Disappointing yourself. And it's such an easy thing to do. Like, ooh, yeah, definitely. And that's all. That is all for here for the day. This book really went a route that I didn't think it would go. So definitely do look into the trigger warnings, because it really went places that I did not expect this book to go. And I don't necessarily like where it's like, this is a book about sex. Like, it is about sex, but don't think of it in like a sexy way. Like the quote on the front says, amazing, a sexy, suspenseful, gorgeously written book. None of that is true. None of that. I would say a little suspenseful, because I really was curious of why she had to go to this camp. But this is not sexy at all. Curtis, who said that, is kind of disgusting for saying it's sexy. And then gorgeously written, no, it's not gorgeously written. But that's another thing. The Florida plot line, the before plot, she just seems like a completely different person than she does in the North Carolina plot line, even though they all happen within the same year. Like, it's a 180. It's so strange how much the character changed and just does not read like the same person. And I definitely do think the Florida plotline is the more interesting one, the more intriguing one, and the better written one. It's nighttime, and we know when I film out here, the lighting's not great. I don't have good lighting anywhere in my house. I don't need to get angry, because I'm already just so, y'all know, jam-packed with emotions today. I don't need to add anger to that. So let's talk about Princess Diana. So I got to over the halfway point in here. I think it was like 53% that I got to. So I didn't update all yesterday, so we will talk about that. And those chapters were like when her kids were born and all of that. And I always thought that her mental issues, mental illness, came into effect because of her time with the royal family, but actually no, she had a lot of issues before marrying Charles, because ultimately it does stem back to your childhood most of the time. And yeah, she did have, like, they even talk about in the book, it's kind of hard to say that somebody who is from such a privileged background had a hard childhood, but you can, it's definitely true that parents divorce like so many people's, and then just like being separated from like her mom, and then, sorry, there's a fly in here, and then like kind of the emotional, like the detachment her stepmother had from the Spencer children. So there was a lot that led up to like her eating disorders and that kind of thing. And obviously marrying into the royal family and her relationship with Prince Charles did not help at all. Even she had like postpartum depression and just a lot of other stuff, because I don't want to like diagnose somebody if it doesn't say directly on the page what it was. But obviously being in a relationship that you're being cheated on, and that, I'm not going to say he never loved her, but his mind was only elsewhere, his heart was only elsewhere, that's definitely going to impact your mental health. And now I think it's interesting that Charles talks a lot about mental health and all. I don't know if it's because of Diana at all, but I would think at least a little bit, because that is the mother of his children. But there's also that when all this is happening in the 80s, mental health wasn't really a forefront like it is now. So I don't think a lot of people in this story, I know story in quotes because it's real life, had a full understanding of what mental health was. So it would be very interesting to see compared to today to back then. So there was all that. And then, yeah, today it's really getting into, she is being compared a lot, like even Charles would be like, why can't you be more like Fergie? That's Sarah Ferguson. And yeah, that how we were talking about with the other book, comparing to somebody else. And definitely it was really hard for Diana to fit in when the other daughter-in-law of the queen was so well liked, because they had such different personalities. And then it went into her helping people with AIDS. You know, that was a big thing with Princess Diana. I feel like I'm leaving stuff out, but that's all I'm gonna say for right now. I'm not remembering, because again, the brain has been crazy this week, and I'm even just doubting what I'm filming right now. I'm like, this does not look like good quality, so why even upload it? But tens of people watch it every week, so I must be doing something right, and it can just be very, very hard. So yeah, Oh yeah, and a lot of this makes me wonder if Princess Diana would be so well liked today, because she's looking at all trying to find herself and is going through things like astrology and spiritualists and all of that, and like she wouldn't take any medicine while pregnant with William because she didn't want her baby to be deformed, and a lot of that kind of stuff people hate on today. So it's like, I wonder how all this would be in 2024 versus 1984. So it's just interesting to see how the media and everything has changed in like 40 something years. But I am going to go. Happy Thursday morning. That morning light, so nice. We just got back from the vet, so Penny did great. Nothing wrong with her. And then she got her nails clipped, which, yeah, the vet was like, they would rather be shot, get shots, not with a gun, than get their nails clipped. Like, yeah, Penny, like, she did kind of squeal at the first shot because she got 2 shots, but the nail clipping makes her so mad. So, like, I don't know why dogs are like that, but yeah, she really needed to get them trimmed, because yeah, she needed to get them trimmed. It's been I don't know, like a year since she got them last trimmed, so she had that done. And then I asked the girl at the desk if I could visit Bud right time. I got there and she took me back, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen all this stuff before. It was so cool. Seeing the like rest of the vet's office that you typically wouldn't see. So I saw Bud, she's a little dog friend in there with her, like in the cage below her. But I visited Bud, so yes, she is looking a lot better. But we are going to keep her there over the weekend again, because it's just time at this point to heal and everything. And I think it would just be better at the vet, because one, cleaner, and okay, here's Penny. Penny, look. And Penny got to see Bud. So it'd be cleaner, and then I just think less stressful overall, because all the other pets at my house, and you're like, how's the vet less stressful? Trust me, that cat looked very happy. And I know that they're loving on her, she's loving on them. But it was, so yeah, I think it would just be better there, because then obviously every time she comes home, she's gonna want to be doing all the things that she would typically do at home. But it's like, you need to chill a little bit. Like, you had a surgery last week. I know you have some kind of ear issue, inner ear problem, so I don't want her just to think that she's home, she can just go right back into doing all the kitty things. So I do think it'll be better for her just to stay the weekend. But on Monday, for a fact, we will be bringing her home. And Fred just got here. Fred. So yeah, so I saw her right time I got there, and then the doctor brought Bud in at the after Penny's shots and claws and all that, and so we could see how Bud is walking now, and just seeing that Bud is obviously, she is so much better than when I dropped her off on Friday, because on Friday she just wanted to stay curled up in a ball, but now she's walking around, as I said, loving on everybody. Vet says she's been making biscuits, that's something the cats do like that, to like a blanket, and meowing, and just seems so much happier. And then her eye wasn't as red, it is still kind of crooked, but not red, which is great. So like, it looks so much better. Yeah, so there is all the pet updates. I will begin into reading later. We should finish 2 books today, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's the Princess Diana book. Maybe the Diana book, but I know we're gonna finish the riding camp one today. And I'm gonna go eat the rest of my breakfast. I went to Chick-fil-A to get some breakfast, and I will be going again for lunch, but it's so good. The chicken mini is like, I usually only get them once a year. I get them twice a year so far. So I'm gonna go eat that, and yeah, then I will read probably around lunchtime. Might take a nap, who knows. I'm not really tired right now, but I'll probably be tired later. Let's wrap up my thoughts on the Yonahlosse writing camp for girls. I did finish the book, and I gave it a straight up 3-star. That seems to be the common rating this month. Yeah, the Lindbergh Nanny we gave a 3. Paris Apartment we gave a 3, so this is our 3rd 3-star rating. So far with my project of reading books based on my astrology, they've all just been good. They've been fine. They're not great. I don't love them. They're not new favorites. So next week, hopefully Project Hail Mary, I will devour and love, because it's time for that. It's been a couple weeks, I think a little over 2 weeks now, since we've had a 5-star, which is always great. But characters, I gave a 3, and I debated giving the characters a 2. We have our main character, Thea, who in the two plot lines, we have the one in Florida and the one in North Carolina. So the Florida is the before, the North Carolina is the after or the present. Yeah, I would say it's the present. In the Florida, she's very much naive and very like a teenage girl. She's 15 years old and is very confused with coming of age, all the things that come with it, your body changing, sex, all of that stuff. She's very confused, like most people are at that age, and especially thinking in 1930, they did not have all the information that we have today, and it was this, yeah, they don't have access to a lot of things that girls today have. So it was a very confusing and hard time for her. And that just whole plot line was so much more intriguing. But we're talking about the character work. And then we have her in North Carolina, literally only set a few months apart, and it seems like a completely different person. The one in North Carolina is very manipulative and very kind of mean girl vibes. I don't know how to word it. Like she knows what she wants and she gets what she wants. Was one in the last chapter, she acknowledged that she's like that. And they just seem like completely different characters. Now I would understand if it was years apart, but the fact that it was mere months apart is just kind of, I think there should have been more time in between the two to just to make it more believable. And as I was talking about the coming of age part, I think that the book did a great job with that. And there are some relationships in this that I know are going to make people uncomfortable. I think every relationship in this book will make people uncomfortable, like romantic relationship wise, because they are very taboo. And so we talked the side characters who are the schoolmates, the other girls at the school or camp. It's a camp, my bad. But those characters are not developed at all. I know the name Sissy, and that's all. I'm like, she is kind of the flirt of the group. But all the other, and that's all I can really tell you about her. And I can't tell you really anything about the others. They're all interchangeable. Atmosphere was great, or it was good. I give it a 3-star because, again, it was great for the setting itself. Like the Florida scenes were so good. I loved the writing, the descriptions of Florida, and they were just so lush and very easy to picture. And then the North Carolina ones were good as well, but you can definitely tell the author really flourished with the Florida plot lines or with that setting. But as this does take place in 1930 and 1931, really this feels like it could take place in any time. Yes, there are references to somebody might lose their house because this is when the Great Depression is happening, or somebody lost their job, or, you know, things like that, or the president might get mentioned. Other than that, this feels like it could take place in any time before like cell phones were invented. Writing was a 3. It was very dry and flat for the most part, but there were, sorry thunder, there were some instances that were really beautifully written, but for the most part, as I said, dry. But this is very accessible, and I think it would be great to read like on a vacation when you don't need a lot of mind, like with a big fantasy book, you know, you would have to really just be involved in it. This isn't really dense. It's just very easy and accessible to read. Plot, I gave a 2-star because the North Carolina plot I didn't really care for. It was just happening. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, it's doing nothing for me. And but the Florida plot line, again, there was a lot of intrigue there because I'm like, because that's where we were finding out why she got sent away to this camp, literally like 3 states away and all of that. So, I mean, you're going to be really curious of why that happened. So I was intrigued. I was gripped by the mystery of why Thea was sent away from her family and what the drama with the family was. And then logic, I gave it 2. I just didn't really understand a lot of the characters' reactions to certain things. And enjoyment, I gave it a 3. And that's what I ended up rating. The book was a 3 stars. So there are my tabs, not that many. This was a fine average read. We did finish 2 books today, which is super exciting. So I finished Diana, her true story, and this is a work of nonfiction, so reviewing is going to be kind of different, but to let y'all know my rating, on Storygraph it's a 3.75, and that is my feeling of it. Well, on Goodreads, that translates to a 4-star because you round up. That is how math works. So let's talk about this. I really loved that. Okay, so with Princess Diana, I don't want to be able to see the book, but okay, I guess I'll hold it up. So we all know who Princess Diana is. I think she's one of the most influential people of the last century. And we all know her as the Princess of Wales and this very influential woman, but we don't really know her for the person she really is, for the child that she once was, and all the little, like, her personal life, like, with her kids and all of that. We only know her by the way she was presented to the world, and I think this book did a really great job at humanizing her. She was so much more than just that, like, influential princess that was all over the tabloids and everything. And that was my favorite part of this. I really loved seeing Diana. I really loved the chapters of her childhood and how you can come from privilege, but your life isn't going to always be perfect. You can go through the same struggles that a normal everyday person's going through, as in your parents not getting along and getting divorced, and having other people like a stepmother come into your life and not want anything to do with you and your siblings, and that resulting in an eating disorder and other mental illness. Because so many people who are at the bottom of the social ladder, and then like Diana at the top of the social ladder, can go through that. And yeah, so you shouldn't judge somebody purely on their social class. And I also think this was panned in a very positive image, but if you're somebody, I think I'm pretty good at reading people, you can see some negative traits throughout, because obviously not everybody's perfect. Everybody's going to have their downfalls, and I think you can definitely see, but as I said, I think the book is very positive and doesn't really talk about her in a negative light, but I think if you are a very, like, intuitive person, I think that's the right word, you'll be able to pick up on some negative things. But the reason why I didn't give it a 5-star, why am I giving it a 3.75? A lot of this stuff went right over my head. Now, I think Andrew Morton is British. It says he lives in London, so I'm assuming he is from the UK. So for an American audience, a lot of this did go over my head, like the parts of nobility and all of that, and just that whole British social structure of this time period anyway went right over my head, and I just wish there was some more clarification on how all of that system works, and just on nobility in general. And also, again, this could, it could be because it's by a British writer, but I've read other books by British writers and haven't had this issue. Is just the wording of a lot of sentences was confusing, and I think it could have probably been edited better. So those are my thoughts on Diana, her true story. I did really enjoy it, which is great. So let me see. Yeah, so I covered everything that I wanted to. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's see what all we did here. So I've read over 160 pages every day this week in this vlog, and that is fantastic because it was a very hard week for me. I went through a lot this week. I cried this week. I had every emotion this week and a ton of anxiety, which that hasn't fully come down yet, but I know in the coming days it will, and everything will get back to normal, because that's how life works. It's a roller coaster. I know, very basic, but that statement is true. So we finished 2 books this week, very happy about that, and I do think I could finish 1 or 2 more, you never know, but I think I will finish my poetry collection by the end of the week. So that is the reading wrap up. We hauled 2 books this week, and yeah, so I think we finished 2 books and we bought 2 books. That's a great thing to do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a blue emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.